Well, let me get the camera ready, adjusted. Okay, that looks okay. I sent out a notice, I think this morning, to let everyone know that I would be online in case anybody wanted to join and participate. Yeah, gonna wait until a few people come online. Hey there, Ghost Rider. You are of your word. You said that you would be here, and there you are. I'm just I'm a tie-dye kind of guy. I have bright colors, I have dark colors. It just feels me. Just feels like me. Expression of my own fashion. I also thought that it always seems kind of interesting, though. I've noticed that when I wear tie-dye as opposed to other things, that people seem to feel more comfortable around me. You know how there's a psychology of fashion, and sometimes if you come in, yeah, that's true. Some people can wear a suit, and then it projects an image. It's a psychology of fashion. So that person might mean business, and that maybe you can't quite relax around them, or that something serious is going to be talked about. But with tie dye, it's a completely different vibe, so to speak. But thanks for showing up. I think I answered your question on the YouTube channel about the books that I like for prosperity and abundance. Yeah. But I think that when we're talking about magic, that we have to look for the outward manifestations of our magic as indications of how our magic is doing. That if you It's a curious thing that if you are a magician and you project that you are someone who has, I've seen these people online who are very powerful and all of this, and yet they don't seem to have their life together. And I certainly understand that we are all in the process of becoming better. However, one I think should be congruent with the way their life actually is and how they project that. Because you lose credibility if you don't do that, and you won't necessarily be trusted by people. Leading by example and all that type of stuff. Show me the money, as they say in Jerry Maguire. Okay, so I will go into my little thing. As I always do at the beginning of my videos, I want to remind everybody that I am putting new attunements in my Etsy attunement store. So I recently put in one on the genius of creativity for those people who are trying to connect with their inspiration and creativity and overcome writer's block and all that type of thing. In addition, I just added Seer, who is a Goetic spirit. He is responsible for assisting the summoner to make others make rapid decisions, and also to speed up magic, because magic can be delayed and kind of slow. Forgive me if you hear a little bit of whining and barking. That is Freya, my dog, in the background. I'll talk about her in a second. So anyway, if you want to level up your magic, improve your life, then check out the Attunement Store. I will put a link in the description. So Freya is making a lot of noise. She's a caissoned. She's been with me for about 8 months. She recently had surgery for being spayed. So she is feeling really good now. It's been her 2 weeks. She had to wear a surgery suit. Yes, there is pet magic. Um, she had to wear a surgery suit so that she couldn't pick at her wounds. So now, so the 2 weeks is up. Now she is going back and doing what she normally does, being her usual self, running through the yard like her ass is on fire. So that is welcome. So now she is wanting her daddy's attention. So that if you hear that in the background, that is her. What is pet magic? Well, I would say that if you're it's just be just like a person because a pet is just another being. So that if you were to do something like your pet was sick, your dog or your cat, you can certainly do candle magic or Saint Francis, who's associated with Catholicism. When we're talking about Christian and Catholic type of so-called magic, that would be something to work with. Um, your pets are a whole other thing. They even have their own little um, spirit guides and all those other types of things, just like we do. They're a part of the universe and they're a sentient being and they're like us. Um, they're going through a learning process of how to be a dog or a cat, and it's an evolution. So, in fact, I think that dogs, especially, they're called man's best friend, and we have evolved together. Anthropologists say, and that is why we have this kinship, and that we kind of take care of each other. Damon Brand's still around. I want to check out his interviews. Well, if he has a Patreon, if you are able to find interviews, let me know. He is kind of a reclusive type of person, so there might be one or two out there, but I'm not aware of any right now. He is a fiction writer in addition to being an occultist, and I want to say that he's in the Great Britain area. But his magics, I mean, his books through the Gallery of Magic, they're all good and they're simple. They're usually easy to do. So I encourage you to check it out. So I guess let's talk a little bit about. I hope y'all are taking care of yourselves, staying cool. It's very hot. I know that's pretty obvious. I know down south where I am, it is especially hot, breaking records and things. I took last week. I actually was getting my air conditioning repaired in my car because prior to that, I had been without air conditioning in my car for 4 weeks. And it's not a pleasant experience. It's something you can get used to, certainly. It's not the worst thing in the world. I remember being a young person who had a lot of crappy cars growing up as a teenager in early 20s, and only half the time they had air conditioning, but it's not something that I prefer. So anyway, I hope that you all are staying cool. And if you are somebody who works in areas that require a lot of manual labor, construction, roofers and stuff, please stay hydrated and again, take care of yourself. All right, let's talk a little bit about the videos that uh, I did recently since the last time that we did one of these lives. So I did a video on the sun, the 19th card of the Rider-Waite Tarot deck. 19th of the major arcana, the major themes and major forces that when we place the cards out, these are the ones that have a quite a large influence. So when we look at the Sun card, in case you've never seen it, it's a there's a big beaming sun at the top. There's a child riding a horse, blue sky, kind of idyllic scene. The sun, uh, as a celestial body, is the light source and the source of life, of warmth that nourishes us. And symbolically, it reflects the successes of our lives. The Sun card is actually a very positive card. When we're looking at the card and the bright sun and the blue sky indicates clarity, clarity of our minds, because there aren't any clouds in the card. Clouds, can be, in a sense, a little bit of confusion or, can indicate thoughts that can lead us astray. So the card indicates us, at least psychologically, about having a focused mind and focused attention and the opportunity to see things clearly. And of course, when we're dealing with the Sun card, we have to understand that it's part of a context of a question that the person who wants the reading is asking, and that the cards surrounding the sun also have kind of a mitigating or enhancing effect for it. But just speaking strictly of the sun, the sun is our conscious awareness. It is, in a sense, some people say enlightenment, feel comfortable about the future. As opposed to the moon card of the Rider-Waite deck, which would be more like illusion and maybe things that are happening behind the scenes, a little bit of deception, because when you look at what is the moon doesn't have its own light, it borrows it from the sun, it's a reflection. So it isn't, so what we see the moon lit up, it's not the moon's light, type of thing. So a sun card that is upright is very positive. Of course, when it's reversed, it is the opposite. It would be someone who is struggling for success, maybe clouded mind, minds filled with illusion, not seeing things clearly, and that sort of thing. So please comment if you are a tarot card reader and you use a Rider-Waite deck and you've come across the sun in some of your readings. Okay, so let's go on to the second video. So the second video was, I went over a technique for enhancing psychic abilities. Weird question. I love your hair, and how do you get it so curly? I don't put any product in my hair. I'm too lazy to do that. I don't have time to mess with my hair too much. I just brush it. It's naturally that way. It's genetics. My sisters are jealous. They curse me when I go to family reunions. So the technique for psychic ability and intelligence, that comes from the book, and I highly recommend this book. It's, I want to say, maybe at least a decade old. It's called The Einstein Factor. It is a well-researched book by Wim Wenders, who came across a technique that could increase IQ points. And I've noticed that with one of my experimentation that it increases psychic sensitivity. And it's a way of going about thinking and as a form of meditation, so that your brain is connecting and firing on all cylinders in a way. So to kind of go over the technique real quick, what you would do uh yeah, what you would do is to close your eyes, relax. You would allow, you close your eyes, things are going to start to form. Your brain is just still firing its neurons, and things are going to come up. So you don't have to worry about that. There are certain people who have a hard time visualizing, and I understand that. But most people can. Most people are visually oriented as far as their senses are concerned. What you do is whatever comes up, you start talking about it. So I see a little girl with blonde hair and a pink dress walking in a field, and you would start just talking about what you see. Talk about her shoes. What is she doing? You said I could hear her footsteps in the field. The wind is blowing. She's looking around. She's feeling playful. So you'd start talking, and you would be engaging all the senses. You'd be like an observer. Okay. And if you were in the picture, that's fine too. Any plans for the new moon? If so, what do you plan to do? Um, I am not sure. To be honest with you, I don't. In the past, I've done things on new moons or full moons, but I don't always. New moon is actually a time period for Hecate, so I could do an offering or some type of ritual for her. So that's what comes to mind first when I think of new moon. Previous to that, when I was younger and I was part of an actual uh, coven, we would do the formal rituals and things on the Espits, the full moons and the new moons, and the Sabbats. We would hit all of the holidays and everything else. You're welcome. So when when you experience this in your mind and you start to talk about it, you have to do this out loud. I know that sounds funny. You may be by yourself, but it works better if you're doing it out loud and you talk about what you see, hear, feel, experience, your internal experience. Be descriptive, be detailed, and just let it run. Let it run like a movie. It goes where it goes. No judgment here. It's just whatever happens, happens. If things start to slow down, you say, well, what next? And it will kind of flow like a movie. And it doesn't matter what you see or what you hear at all. It is just your creativity coming out, and you are sending a message to your subconscious mind that you are respecting it and that you are honoring it in a way. So, how long should you do this? The research says that 10 minutes is optimal, so that's not very long, and that you would typically see results after 10 days. Now, I myself have done this for a few days, and can definitely tell that something was different in a positive direction. I felt sharper. I felt like my memory was a little bit better. You ever sometimes struggle with words, maybe even big words that you're trying to communicate in a very accurate way, and you can't come up with that word. Well, that's one of the things that I noticed that while that happens to me sometimes, that happened hardly at all. Felt like my brain was working better um, with this exercise. And I did notice that my psychic sensitivities were enhanced because this is your psychic abilities isn't just kind of floating around. It is part of your body. Your body has to interact with it and has to interpret it through your brain. What magic books do you love to recommend? There is I want to say a book by Jason Miller. I think it's called The Secrets of Sorcery. It's his first book. That's a good book. If you again, if you wanted to try something else as far as money magic, he has one called Financial Sorcery. That's a good one too. So 10 minutes for this exercise for 10 days. You will be pleasantly surprised. It's also kind of a good thing to do where, we're very externally oriented. We're doing things all day. We're interacting with people. We're looking at our phones. We're constantly externally oriented. It's nice to take a break, sit down, and do something like this where we're just focusing on ourselves and what's inside of us. That is lacking nowadays, um, especially with technology the way that it is. We have social media, we have different apps that are competing for our attention, that are increasing our dopamine. And basically, what a dopamine typically what does is it's not only a reward chemical, but even more than that, it is a motivation chemical. So when we're using our phones and doing these sorts of things, social media, we're getting a little bit of a charge, a little bit of a good feeling, and that keeps us engaged with it. These sorts of things are designed by industrial psychologists who will specifically design people to keep them engaged and to keep them hooked in a way. So anytime that you can get away from your phone, some people have actually go through a social media fast where they just set their phone down, their computer down for a couple days. Now, if you're working, that's one thing, and you're using a computer, but use your phone. Maybe if you for a social media fast, maybe just use it for your phone as for making calls and texting a little bit. But it can really kind of clear out the clutter in your brain. No, I haven't really read a lot of books on them. I remember going through school and learning about them, and that they are one of the higher paid psychologists because they go into these businesses and they figure out how to get customers, how to improve their sales. So you imagine that if you were a business and you wanted that and your business survived, depended on it, then you would pay these people a lot of money because to learn their ideas and tricks and to design things. Um, so if you find a good book, let me know. That might be something even I would be interested in learning about how to do these sorts of things. I don't know them specifically from industrial psychology per se, but I have read books on persuasion and things like that. One thing that I will mention, because sometimes people ask me, okay, so your channel is on the occult and the paranormal. So what are some other good channels? One channel that I recently like is called the Y Files. and it'll usually symbolize itself by WF. And the Y files go through, a guy kind of talks about different mysteries, and they usually revolve around the paranormal or something of that nature. And he has this goldfish that kind of heckles him a little bit. It's kind of funny. Um, I know someone who doesn't like this channel just because of the fish, because it's an annoying little fish. Um, but I think it's funny. It's a good channel. Another good channel if you like mystery and paranormal in story form by someone who could tell a good story based on actual case studies. There's one called Mr. Ballin, so that'd be Mr. Ballen. Mr. Ballin and the Y Files. Those are the two I recommend. Alrighty. Well, unless that you all have something else, I think I will close it out here. I want to thank everybody for, I guess, viewing my channel, leaving comments, asking questions. It's important that my family also does magic. No, no one in my family does magic, at least not that I know of. But I want to thank everybody for participating in my channel, making comments, asking questions. Unfortunately, YouTube is a business too, so they give a lot of uh, visibility to mainstream channels, which occult channels aren't normally. So all of that matters when you view, share, make comments, and that sort of thing. It helps the algorithm recognize the channel and kind of push it up. Also, if you want notifications of new videos, just hit the bell button. And other than that, please subscribe and like if you haven't. All right. Thanks so much. I'm going to post this video, of course, on my channel so that if you were coming in late, you can watch what you missed. So I will see you all in a future video, hopefully soon. Take care and stay cool.